coming and going of things.
What's going on, everyone? You guys are doing awesome.
They go. Where do they go? Don't answer.
If you're not aware of what exactly is going on, it's going to make a whole lot of sense here in just a few minutes. But before we get into it, I just want to figure out where you guys are calling in from. So whether you're here on Zoom or any of the other platforms, if you could please drop your city, your state, your country, whatever you feel like in the chat below so we can kind of get a rough overview of where our audience is calling in from. We're here in Dubai and Queensland, Australia. We got some babies in the background running around. So we're here in Dubai. We are launching something absolutely amazing. And at the end of this call, we'll also talk about a couple of ways where you'll be able to actually win a free either flight or hotel, and then VIP access to our event here in Dubai in the middle of October. So stay till the end and we'll talk a little bit about that. And so Oregon, shout out to Oregon. Hello, Ashley. How are you? And everyone else, we got Tui from Australia. And then if you guys could please just in the chat below, just type where you're calling in from. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Sam Hidja. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Divinfi. And we got Marina from Pennsylvania. Awesome. Canada, Chris. I believe that's Vancouver, right, Chris? And we're creating something absolutely amazing that I believe has never been done before. And it's the combination of two things that seem like they'd be irrelevant, right? But it's the consciousness and then the currency side of things. And so I'm really excited to share this with you. And I know we have some of our team here that is working to really create this overall vision that we have. And so I want to welcome you to Divinfi, the biggest launch in history. Okay, and so our goal here at Divinfi is to bring freedom to all 8 billion people here on Earth. And so what that means and what that entails is financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and most importantly, the emotional freedom to be able to sustain it and hold it and to evolve, right? So a little bit about me. I don't want to talk about myself too much. I really want to share this info with you, but just so you kind of have a little background on me, if this is your first time watching this. I've been an entrepreneur since 2011. Since I was about 18 years of age, I got into the car exporting business. I was buying and selling cars. That was my first step into the entrepreneur world, right? I had quit my job, was working at Jared's. That was more than 12 years ago. And I got introduced to this whole new world. And it really opened up my eyes of the possibilities. And over the last decade, a little bit more than a decade, I've been able to really do pretty big things, especially after being told that I wasn't really going to be able to. I was that kid that was in the back of the class that slept 7 out of 8 periods every single day. I was, an average, below average student, I would say, because I didn't really apply myself. I just literally slept. I was either sleeping or talking, right? Like that was me. And the teachers told me that I had ADHD. And I have to agree because I heard this the other day. And it's so funny. It's like ADHD stands for a dude has dreams. And I had dreams. I was either daydreaming while the teacher was talking, or I was dreaming because I was asleep. So it's just interesting. And I kind of wasn't really interested in school much, but whenever I got into the space of entrepreneurship and being able to to build and use that, the ability to speak, it served me well, and I was able to earn millions and millions of dollars in my career. I was able to help dozens and dozens of people earn a full-time income upwards of, 6 figures a year, and it's been awesome. But what happened was, I thought when I was younger, if I could only get there, then I'll be happy. But what I found out was in June 2023 that wasn't really true, because I had really more time, more finances, and the ability to travel whenever I wanted. I was in Southeast Asia. I was traveling to all these different countries. I worked maybe 5-6 hours in 7 months. And I started to notice I was having a lot more anxiety. I was going through depression. I was having like panic attacks every day. It was becoming harder and harder to breathe. I even got to the point where I was like having suicidal thoughts, which was never really a thing. Like, I never in my mind would have ever thought that I would even get to that point, right? Like, I used to think that was not a reality. I didn't understand how people could even think about that, but then that happened to me, right? And so I remember being in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, on the 48th floor, and literally contemplating if I should just jump off and end it, because I was going through a really hard marriage, and it was just, I felt trapped and I felt lost and confused and all of these things, which now I definitely understand people that go through that, like, you just feel alone. And so that wasn't the worst. It actually ended up getting worse and worse. I ended up going through the divorce. I ended up going to jail in Bali, Indonesia, which I would not even wish on the worst of my enemies. I mean, the cell was so bad. I mean, it was like an 8 foot by 8 foot cell. There's black mold on there. They're giving you one meal that's like horrible. And then I remember being there, and what ended up happening was these lawyers came in. They're like, "Hey, if you don't pay us $50,000 US, you can either get the death penalty, or you might end up going to jail for 4 to 12 years." And the reason I was there was because of an addiction I had. I didn't think it was an addiction at the time, but I was addicted to marijuana. I was smoking it every day for 12 years, right? Not only was that, I also had a sex addiction. I was addicted to money. I was addicted to travel, people pleasing, and validation, all of these things. And so after that moment and getting to rock bottom, my buddy Jamie, who we're here, he's in the other room right now, he was living in the Philippines, and he's like, "Hey bro, you should come to the Philippines." And so it took me maybe an hour, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll come to the Philippines." So I end up going to the Philippines. I end up meeting this guy right here, and he's actually right behind me. His name is Don Smith. So over the last 44 years, Don has created and pieced together this transformational process. It's the most powerful thing that I've ever witnessed. I believe it's the most powerful process on the planet right now. And so, I thought it was just going to be like another step above. I had done so many different, personal development, read thousands of books, was doing audiobooks every single day. I remember smoking weed and then listening to Esther Hicks, right? Like all of these things. I did leadership workshops. I did transformational workshops. I did quote unquote transformational workshops. I did energy work, right? I did plant medicine. Don likes to call them plants with drugs in them, right? All of these things. I did breath work. I was actually teaching people breath work and taking them to these. Some of you have actually probably done some of my classes, and they're powerful, but they're limiting because they can only take you so far. And so when I showed up to Dawn, even after doing over a decade worth of work on myself, the personal development work, and spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, I still had all of my BS patterns. I was still in all this toxic patterns. I kept on self-sabotaging myself over and over and over again. And so the process is absolutely amazing. And Don is actually hasn't really been available for most people because he was working with like these big corporations and these billionaires and these athletes in 15 different sports. So those were his clients for the majority of his career. But Jamie actually got connected with him over 4 years ago, and he Don agreed to work with us. He agreed to work with our community. And so I'm going to give you a little bit more insight on what happens in this process. So there's this scale of consciousness. It was created by Dr. David Robert Hawkins. And it's out of a book called Power versus Force, which is funny because I remember one of my mentors from Canada, he recommended me to read the book about like 8 years ago. I read the book. I have it in my library, one of my properties in Dallas, but it wasn't an embodiment, because to know and not to do is not to know. But I'll go a step further and say to know and not to embody is not to know, because you can know all of it intellectually, but if you're not fully embodied in it, it just goes in one ear and out the other, right? So what this skill talks about and what it's basically representing is our emotions. And all of the emotions are on a certain level of consciousness or vibration or frequency. You can use these words interchangeably. So at the bottom of the scale, it starts at 0, then at the top it goes to 1,000. So shame is at a 20, fear is at 100, courage is 200, and then enlightenment is at 700 to 1,000. And then there's all the different emotions in between, as you see. So what's really awesome is, and actually let me just take a step back so you guys have some reference points. So there's a guy named Hitler, which we all know, the atrocities he did. His level of consciousness was at level 50. Okay? The average, when you take the whole world and you average out the consciousness level, the average consciousness, like 80% of the world is actually under a 210. Under a 210 consciousness level. So the crazy thing about that is as you see this red line right here, this is where truth and integrity, this is where it starts. And more than 80% of the population is actually under this line. Okay, and then whenever you take a look at all the great teachers, whether it be Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Zoroaster, any of these great teachers, they were at a level 1,000. And so that was what they were preaching. They were preaching that our natural state is enlightenment. That is your natural state. That is my natural state. This is where we were always supposed to be. But what happened was there was one moment in time that shocked you, and it created this like energetic anchor holding you down in these lower levels of consciousness. So I want you to imagine being at the very bottom of the ocean and you have an anchor attached to you. And you want to get to the top, which is enlightenment, and you're swimming up, but then this anchor keeps holding you back, pulling you down. No matter what you do, you keep getting pulled down. So in Don's process, he simply allows you to figure out what it was the very first moment, get rid of the energetic anchor, and you naturally flow to the natural state of enlightenment. Okay, it's simple, it's 2 hours, but really it happens in an instant. And it's just something that you have to experience. And the reason why you put this as a part of the community is because even if we show you the best way to earn income and to create infinite wealth, you're going to sabotage yourself over and over and over again. Even if it's not just wealth, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's your health, right? And so I'll give you an example, okay? There's this, one of the billionaires that Don worked with, his name is Tim. Okay, so this guy was worth billions of dollars. And he had 5 addictions. He was addicted to food, sex, gambling, drugs, and alcohol. He had 5 addictions, and he was going through a divorce, and he also he had so much anxiety that he wasn't able to fly on his private jet. Okay, that's how bad it got. So then what happens is he does the process with Dawn. 2 hours, all of his addictions are completely gone. The divorce is no longer on the table, and everything's amazing. Okay, so this is the power of Dawn's process. And if you ask Dawn how did he get it, he would say that he got it gifted from the divine, and he's been able to piece these things together over 44 years using himself as a guinea pig. So, you know, and just one thing to note is, like, the billionaire that hired Dawn, he paid him $1 million for the 2-hour session. So the price on this work is really, there's no price that you can put on it. So we have him working with our team directly. We have our Tuesday sessions for new clients, and then we have our Thursday sessions for people that have already gone through the process. So if you've already gone through the process, you have another chance to go through it here at 5 a.m. Dubai time. So it's 7:22, so really bad amount. I'd say like another 10 hours, something like that, like 9.5 hours. So if you haven't, scan this QR code so you can do the questionnaire. It's gonna basically help you get rid of, or get to the root cause of what is holding you back. Okay, and then you'll go through the process and you'll experience the same magic that I have and so many other people have. And so this is the consciousness side of things. Now I'm going to talk about the currency side, how you can actually earn income. And so when you join Divinfi, you're not just joining a company, you're joining a community that's here to help you with your success, and then your overall, really just stepping into your infinite self. Oh, yeah. So sorry, my bad right now. Marina says she loves the colors. Just so you know, Marina, the reason why they're purple and pink is because of the top of the chart, right? So purple and pink, you're gonna see that all throughout Divinfi, so that's why. So you know, right now a lot of people are getting and utilizing AI to help them with their everyday things, whether you're a business owner or a student or whatever, right? Like ChatGPT is taking the world by storm, and they use it to streamline a lot of their work, right? And then you take the other, you know, another example. For example, they trust AI so much that they are willing to take their hands off of the steering wheel of their Tesla and let it drive them to and from work. So my question is why don't we trust AI enough to allow it to grow your bank account? And that's exactly what this is, Apollo. It's an AI that is utilizing machine learning, meaning it's only getting better and better over time. And it's actually growing your account, your crypto account, 20 to 50% a month, hands free. So it's really simple. You have your crypto account, you do an API, which is really just a simple connection. It connects into your crypto account, and then it just trades your account completely hands-free. So imagine being with your friends, your family, traveling, at the gym, wherever, doing whatever you want to do, and your money is working for you completely hands-free. The caveat here is no matter how much profit you're earning, you're splitting the profits with the developer. So we met this guy in Dubai. He's been developing it since 2017. And so let's say you're doing the minimum that you can fund your account and use the AI is $1,000 US. Okay, it was 100,000, but we actually got it down for our community. So you can start with 1,000 USD minimum. And so what happens is, let's say it does 20% on 1,000 USD. Okay, so 20% on 1,000, that's $200 profit that you earn hands-free. You take $100, you're splitting it in half, and then you're giving 100 to the developer. Very simple. Okay, let's say he does 50%, which the AI has actually done 51% in the last 3 weeks. Let's say he does 50% on $1,000, that's $500 completely hands-free. You take 250 and then you send the developer 250. And you're responsible for paying the developer every 20th to the 25th of every month. And so no one ever has access to your account. You have full control. The AI is just, it's a simple connection where they can see the account, they can trade the account, but they cannot withdraw any funds. So you need to send the money to the developer. And I've had a couple of people be like, what if I don't pay? Well, if you don't pay the developer, then he's just not gonna, he's gonna disconnect the AI. So, you know, it's just one of those things, it's a trust factor. And you know, I hate that I have to say this, but past performances are not indicative of future results. It's not a guarantee. This is just what we've seen. The range last couple of years has been anywhere between 20 and 50% a month. Could it do less than 20%? Sure. Could it do more than 50%? Yeah, it could. But this is just what we've seen. The average, if you added up all the months that it's been trading, it's been about 28%. 28%. So very simple. I'm going to talk about compounding and how you can actually replace your savings account with Apollo, because nowadays it's really important to start to invest. Why? Because if you take a look at the world and hyperinflation, right, the US has actually printed what, like trillions and trillions of dollars since COVID, and even, you know, trillions before that too. So the US dollar, which every other currency is pegged to, it doesn't matter if you're using pesos or euros or Swiss franc or whatever, it's still affecting you. What's happening in the US affects you. And so the US dollar has been losing about 1% every single month since I forget, it's been like since 2020 or something, or 2021, somewhere around there. And so from June 2023 or July 2023, we're in July now, to July 2024, your money is able to spend minimum 12% less. Like places like Argentina, I mean, it's crazy. Like their money's worthless. So, and I'm sure you guys are noticing, like if you go to the grocery store and you try to purchase some goods, your money is not able to buy as much. And a lot of people are like, oh, they're raising the prices of groceries. No, that's not it. What's happening is that the money's not worth as much, so it's reflected in the price. Okay, so I'm going to show you the power of compounding. So I'm going to share my screen to another screen. So just give me one moment. Let me make sure that you guys can see this. If you can see my screen, give me a 111 in the chat below. If you can see my screen, give me a 111 in the chat. Awesome, awesome. Cool. So I'm going to show you the power of compounding. So let's say you start with $1,000 US in the AI. Okay, that's the minimum. If you're going to put more, awesome, but I'm just going to show you the minimum. And so I said it's going to do anywhere from between 20 and 50% per month, and then you need to split it. So let's say you did 20%, and then after the split, let's say it's 10%. So let's say it's compounding 10% a month for 5 years. Okay, so let me show you what happens. Oh wait, that's it. 5 years. So for you, so if you start with 1,000 as the initial balance, it would take you 8 months to double the account. So for you to go from $1,000 to $2,000 in that account. Pretty awesome. I mean, especially considering if you put your money in your savings account, they're giving you 1% a year. Okay, so what happens after 5 years? if you continue to compound it, meaning you just let it sit there and compound over and over and over again, by 5 years, you'll have $304,481.64. Absolutely unheard of. And that's the power of compounding. And that's what Albert Einstein was saying here. He says, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. So I'm not saying that you have to use Apollo, but what I am saying is start to at least, at the minimum, have your money work for you, at least getting 1% a month. So that way you're negating inflation. And we're talking about 10%, so 10 times inflation, right? So I believe we have the absolute best vehicle for you to compound your wealth. And that way you don't have to have it in your savings account, which is losing you money. You can have it on Apollo, earning you money. And one thing to note, you can withdraw at any time. There's no like time limit that you have to have it in there. It's up to you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about being an entrepreneur or an investor. So there's a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote a book called The Cash Flow Quadrant, and he talked about there's 4 ways to earn income. So let's say you work at a smoothie store, right? You're an employee, which is the first quadrant. You work 8 hours, you get paid for 8 hours, right? You have a job, you get paid for the time you put in. Very simple. The next quadrant is the self-employed quadrant. So let's say you're like working at the smoothie store and you're like, hey, this seems pretty good. Maybe I should open up a smoothie store. You quit your job, you go open up a smoothie store. Now you're self-employed. Okay, so we have a little bit more independence. But the thing about this is that now you don't have a job, but you actually own a job, right? Because you're the lifeblood of the business. If you're not there, your business will not grow. Even if you have employees, right? Like I guarantee you, if you go in and decide to go take 5-month trip, your business is going to be gone by the time you get back. You can't just take time off. So the goal is to shift from the left side to the right side. So, being a big business owner and being an investor allows you to leverage. So as a big business owner, you can leverage a system and leverage other people's time and efforts. So for example, let's take McDonald's, right? McDonald's is a franchise and they have a whole system, right? They have a whole system. That's why a 16-year-old can literally manage a McDonald's because they have a system in how they do every single thing. How you mop, how you flip burgers, everything is accounted for. And so you have a whole system in how to run the whole business. And so with the McDonald's, you're investing $1.2 million for the franchise. That doesn't include paying the employees and the light and all of that. And so that's one example of being a big business owner and having a franchise. Now, let's take another example. Let's say you guys all know Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he's the richest man in the world. At least publicly. Let's just say he has 10,000 employees. Just a nice round figure. And let's say each one of those employees work 8 hours for Musk. So even though you and I and all his employees, everyone on Earth only has 24 hours in a day, Elon Musk, he's leveraging all of his employees' time and energy, right? So 10,000 times 8 hours is 80,000 man hours every single day that he's leveraging. So the key here is leverage, okay? And so I'm going to show you a way on how you can actually leverage other people's time and efforts and be in many places at once, right? Like our company, our community is actually in 14 countries and counting. But we're still in pre-launch. Show you what we've done and how you can actually plug into this system and do the exact same thing. Now, the last quadrant is the investor quadrant. So this is leveraging your money. right? Leveraging your money, having your money work for you. So it's pretty awesome because we have something for both of these quadrants where you can actually earn residual income off of, you know, the system that we've created, and then you can also earn passive income through the AI that you're able to plug into. So the one thing is if you don't have money, let's say $1,000 to become an investor, we're going to show you a way where you can earn the 1,000 and then use that money to get into the investor quadrant as well, which is awesome because, you know, back in the day, a lot of, like, for example, I had a mentor that was a hedge fund. He ran a hedge fund, and I was asking him, I was like, yo, like, I want to get into the investor side of things. And he said the minimum that you need to become an investor, to start becoming an investor, is 100,000 that you're willing to lose. So with technology, now everyone, even with a minimum of $1,000, can now become an investor. So we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Like I said, there's two types of people. There's the 95%, which use active income, and there's the 5%, which use passive income. So how do you get started? We have one package. It encompasses both Don's process and the AI. So you get both of these whenever you get the Freedom Pack. So the Freedom Pack is $149 to start the first month, and then it's $99 per month after that. Okay, so let's say you're like, hey, I don't want to pay the $99 a month. We have a way for you to also offset the membership. Refer three people to the membership, right? You get excited, you use the AI, you do Don's process, you get so excited, you share it with others, 3 of them, your membership is completely free. Okay, and now I'm going to talk about the partnership program and how you can actually build a whole business around this. So our what we've done is, instead of paying millions and millions of dollars to advertising and commercials and all the traditional ways of marketing, what we've done is we created a model in the network marketing industry. So what we do is, instead of taking that money and putting it in traditional marketing, we pay people like you and I to share this information with others. And so the reason why we chose this is because now this way we can share the wealth with everyone. Number 2, word of mouth marketing is probably the best way to share things that you really love, right? Like, I remember this guy right here on the screen. His name is Jamie. He's a CEO here at Divinfi, and he went and watched Bad Boys 4 with his fiance. He comes back later and he's like, dude, I just watched Bad Boys 4, it's so good. And I'm in my bed later that night, and I'm like, maybe I should go watch Bad Boys 4, right? Because it's just how it is. Like, we're social beings. When someone shares something with us that they're excited about, then we listen and we want to do it. And, you know, trust me, it's so much more different whenever it's actually impacting your life. Like, you know, he was the one that introduced me to Don. He was the one that introduced me to Apollo. He was extra excited about those things. And so now you have a way to actually get paid and build a business for things that you're really excited about. And so here you have the ability to create infinite income. Infinite. I'm talking anywhere from $100 a month to $4 million every single month, and incomes in between. Okay, so the second thing is that there is residual income, right? One traditional way that you can earn residual income the traditional way is real estate. Right? Like, I'm in the real estate business in the US, and you know what happens is, I'll give you a clear example. Let's say you wanted to buy a house and you're going to rent it to someone. Well, if you wanted to earn $500 in residual income, you would have to leverage $250,000. So you would leverage $250,000 to make $500 a month. It's crazy, right? Like, your mortgage is $1,500. You rent it out to someone for $2,000. They're paying that every month. You're making $500 a month, no matter what. But there's a lot of risk to that because number one, you also have to take care of the roof if it ever goes bad. You need to fix the toilet if it ever messes up. If someone breaks in, you're responsible for that. If they don't pay, you're also now you're out of luck. And a lot of states, they have a clause where like if someone's there for more than 30 days, you can't force them to get out of your place. So there's a lot more risk, and I believe here we have a lot more upside, and it's so much more easy to create residual income. I'll show you here in just a moment. And there are no qualifications or experiences needed. Doesn't matter if you went to Yale, and it does not matter if you went to jail. And I went to jail. And it's not like I was doing anything crazy, but you know, I was kind of a rebellious kid. You know, I always wanted to do things my own way. And so I don't share that because I'm proud. I'm sharing that because even if I can do it, then you can too. Right. And so the last thing is that you have a whole community here, right? You're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. You have a whole community here that wants to help you achieve your goals. And so I'm going to get into the plan and how you can create yourself some residual income. So there's a couple of qualifications here. Number one, there's a rank name. So this is like where your goal would be in a corporate sense, like, you know, your goal. Then there's a network size. This is how many people need to be in your network total. And if you ask any business owner, you only ever get paid off of building a network of clients. Okay. And then there's the personal referrals, which is the people that you personally referred into the system. Okay. And then there's 3 ways to get paid. So there's the weekly payout, which is paid every Friday. There's a one-time rank bonus, which is a one-time bonus when you hit a certain rank, and that's paid at the end of the month. And then there is the direct bonus, which is paid. We usually pay out $50 per personal referral. Okay, but until pre-launch is done, which could be the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, we're gonna double you guys up. So we're gonna pay you out $100 instead of $50. Okay, very simple. So if you want to get to Inviter, the way you get there is you're gonna need to personally refer 2 people, one on your right team, one on your left team. There's only 2 teams. And then let's say it's your mom and your dad goes and refers someone. Now you have 3 total, 2 on your left, 1 on your right, or 2 on your right, 1 on your left, doesn't matter. You're starting to get paid $25 a week, which is $100 a month. Plus you also got paid the double up bonus for the 2 that you brought in. So that's, let's say you did this in your first month, you just earned $300. Pretty awesome. Okay. Now connector 200, you want to get here. Same, you only need 2 personally referred, your mom and your dad. You're going to teach them what you did. You're going to teach them how to get there too. Now, once you have 4 on your left, 4 on your right, you're earning $50 a week, which is $200 a month. And then you get a one-time bonus of $200. Okay, pretty awesome. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll answer them at the very end of this presentation. And so what you really just need to focus on is this first rank. It's just getting here and then teaching everyone on your team how to get here. Okay. So connector 500, same to your mom and your dad. Once you have 10 on your left, 10 on your right, you're earning $125 a week, which is $500 a month. And then you get a one-time bonus of $500. Okay. Now, same thing, 2 total that you bring in, and then you teach them what you did, and so on and so forth. They teach their people what they did, and then their people so on and so forth. You just keep duplicating your efforts. And then once you have a total of 20 on your left, 20 on your right, you're earning $225 a week, which is $900 a month. And then you get a one-time bonus of $900. Awesome. Okay. Now, connector 1500, the difference here is that instead of just having, for example, your mom and your dad, let's say you buy your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, that's 4 total. And then in your total organization, you need 40 memberships on your left and 40 on your right. And then you're earning $375 a week, which is $1,500 a month. And then you get a one-time bonus of $1,500. The only caveat here is that you need to hold this rank for 2 months. Okay, very simple. Same thing. Now we're at 3K, 2 on your left, 2 on your right, 75 on your left team, 75 on your right team as a collective unit, and you're getting paid $3,000 a month, split into weekly checks of $750, 5K, and so on and so forth. So you can go part-time in this business earning $500 a month, which, like I said, $500 residually every single month, you would need to leverage $250,000 in the traditional model. Here, all you got to do is refer your 2, teach those 2 how to get 2, and so on and so forth, and you're earning $500 a month. And we actually just got our first connector 500 out of Australia, our brother Tui. So all he did is he brought a couple of his friends in, helped them all rank up, and now he's at $500 a month, and he's getting close to connector 900, and pretty soon he'll be, you know, at whatever the rank is, speaker 9K, and then so on and so forth. So, you know, we also have our friend Chris out of Canada. He's getting close to hitting connector 500 as well. And we're just starting, you know, and all they did was really just invite people here to these halls that we have every single day, twice a day. And it's really simple, right? It's just sharing the information with people. We educate them. If they want to be a part of it, great. And if not, that's okay too. We're not forcing anyone. We're just showing you things that work for us, and hopefully you take advantage of it. So same thing, speaker 9K, you're earning $9,000 a month, $15,000 a month, 25, so on and so forth. And maybe you're like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. I'll give you a very clear example. So my friend, her name's Tiffany, I was working with her in a previous company that had nowhere near as good products. It was actually 6 times more the investment. She was a waitress at the time. She was 21 years of age, and she was earning about $2,000 a month. And so she's like, I know I need to do something different in my life because I want more, you know. And so she ended up joining. And the biggest concern for her was that, oh, I'm not very extroverted, right? I don't know that many people and all these different things, which are just excuses. And so I ended up telling her, like, look, you don't need to be the one that's explaining everything. The person that invites the most people to view the info will see the most results. That's the one that's going to get paid the most. Okay, so she did exactly that. She was mainly inviting in person, right? We would have Starbucks meetings, so on and so forth. Zoom was kind of getting there. It wasn't that big back then. And so we have way more leverage now. Like, you know, we're already in 15 countries. We're like not even a month in. So after 3 months, Tiffany went from earning $2,000 a month to earning over $15,000 every single month. Her mom was working at a warehouse. She ended up earning over $10,000 a month. Her uncle, working at Chase Bank, barely came from Vietnam not that long ago, and then he's earning over $10,000 a month. So I say that to say, all you guys watching this have to do is plug into the system, right? System is an acronym for saving you some time, energy, and money. So you just plug into the system and invite, and we do the work, the heavy lifting for you, okay? And we're coming out with some new tools. I talked about it with Tui earlier. We're coming out with a sizzle video, and we're coming out with a couple of tools that you guys can use to make this easier. But you guys that are watching this are at the very beginning of this, and so I'll talk about that here in just a moment. But there are some more ranks, right? So you can earn $250,000 a month, 500, 750,000, $1 million a month, all the way to $4 million a month. And I actually skipped one more bonus. So there is a fourth way you get paid. It's called the global pool bonus that you get paid at 25,000, at speaker 25K. So what the global pool bonus is we take all the sales in the entire company and we take 1% and we put them into a global pool. So what happens is we divide it amongst the number of shares that we have. So let's say there's $1 million to go into the pool. There's 10 shares and you get 1 share out of 10. You'll earn an extra $100,000 on top of the 25,000 that you're already earning every single month. Okay, pretty awesome. So at Master 750K, you actually get a second share. So let's say there's $1 million, you get 2 out of 10 shares. You're getting an extra $200,000 on top of the $750,000 already earning every single month. Okay, very awesome. We just wanted to reward everyone, all of the leadership, and this gives them a reason to work with everybody in the team because eventually they're going to get paid off all of the sales anyways. So we are in pre-launch. Okay, so you guys that are watching this, whether live or in the next couple of days, today is the July 4th. Happy 4th of July to everyone in the US. I didn't even realize what today was, but happy 4th of July. It's an awesome day to launch. And so, yeah, when it comes to business, even though we don't really consider this a business, we consider this an ecosystem. There is a business side to it. You know, in business, it really is all about timing. And so what do I mean by that is imagine you went to the very first day that Apple was launching their company and you invested $1,000, $10,000, and you fast forward to today where Apple is a $1 trillion company or a multi-trillion-dollar company, they're the #1 company in the world. What would have happened to you? You would be a multi-millionaire for taking that risk. And so it's exactly where you are right now. Except that the products actually, we already know that they work. It's at 51% in the last 3 weeks. Don's process has been developed for the last 44 years. He's had people pay him $1 million and you're getting it for $149 for the first month and then $99 a month every month after that. So, and then you get to build it, right? There's so many people haven't seen this. We're just launching. So you want to get at and become a part of the very first trailblazers. And so, yeah, we're more than just a financial system. We're a movement towards financial freedom and personal empowerment. And so if you align with what we're creating, and only do it if you are in alignment, okay? Give back to the person that invited you to this call, or you're viewing this webinar on, whether it's on their LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and just ask them for their unique link, so that way they get the credit for inviting you. And what I'm going to talk about next is some of the next 2 promotions. We have the double up promotion, which is double up on all the direct bonuses. And then we have some exciting prizes we're giving away. So if you directly refer 10 people into the system, we're going to give you a brand new GoPro. If you refer 20, we're giving you a brand new iPhone. And if you refer 30, you're going to get a brand new MacBook. And this ends on August the 18th. So take advantage of this. It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people, everyone has a chance to win these prizes. And the last promotion that we have is if you hit the rank of Connector 1500, we're giving away a 3-day 2-night stay at the hotel where we're having our very first event here in Dubai. And if you hit Connector 3000, we're going to pay for your flight, we're going to pay for your hotel, and you're gonna get VIP access to the event. So, like I said, it doesn't matter, even if there's 1,000 people that qualify, we're giving away 1,000 of these prizes. So I really hope to see you all there. Regardless of anything, it would be super awesome experience for you to come to Dubai, see the city, also be a part of what we're creating and feel the energy. And not many people are going to be able to say like, hey, I was at the very first Divinfi event. And if you want to stay connected on all things Divinfi, scan the QR code. And yeah, we'll open it up for questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them so we can make sure that you have all the info you need to make a decision. Ashley, Barbara, Gerald, Karine, Chris, Marina, Tui, any questions? Marina, go ahead.
I guess you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
I'm awesome. And yourself?
Good, thank you. Thank you for your invitation. Yeah, I had a couple questions. First of all, that Tuesday and Thursday calls with Don's product. What is it? What is it he's doing, and why is it worth our money and time? Never heard of him. Sorry, I don't know. I was watching some videos yesterday. But why would that be worth to, first of all, be the member and then share with somebody else?
Great question. So what Don does is he asks you some very specific questions that help you get to the very first time in your life that you ever had a traumatic experience and helps you release it. Right? Because a lot of us, 99.99% of all people, there was one moment in time that we had this traumatic experience where we dimmed our light. Right? And we start to go through these self-sabotaging patterns where just as we're getting ready to like have like an abundance of wealth or an amazing relationship or have the health, what we do is subconsciously we self-sabotage ourselves before we can get too big. And so when you do Don's process, what ends up happening is your consciousness elevates to these higher levels where now you're operating from a place of abundance and you just step into your infinite self, which has always been there. It's just been covered up, you know. And so I shared some of the different examples, including myself, or even the billionaire, right? The guy that had many billions of dollars. He was also self-sabotaging. So it's just one of those things that you just need to experience for yourself. And I mean, there's tons and tons of stories, whether it is the lady that had cancer, did the process with Dawn, and she reversed it just like that. No health claims, but that's just what happened, right? Or the guy that but there's another guy that saved 600 plus million dollars in a 6-minute call with Dawn, right? So there's so many things, right? Because it's a universal law, as within, so without, as above, so below. So the things that are going on within us are affecting everything in our lives, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so that, I hope that kind of explains it, but really there's no words that really explain what happens in this process. It's one of those things that you just have to experience for yourself. But I know there's many people on this call that have had amazing transformations. I know Tui just shared some of what happened for him with me just today. And we have a lot of different members that have had really amazing transformations. So it's just one of those things that's going to affect every aspect of your life, whether financially, whether in your relationships, whether in your health, in whether in how you, the energy levels and you know how you feel about yourself. So that's what I
So
would
is he
say.
doing it himself, or he has a team member who's doing it?
No, he does it himself.
That's great.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. I had another question about the back office of the platform. What you can actually do in the back office? Do you have the invitation links? Do you have the recordings of those calls? Let's say Dawn's calls, for example, because I guess that's all we have at the moment. Do you have those recordings, or will you have?
So right now, we're transitioning for the back office that we have right now, and we have one, like a really nice one being built. So the one that we have is pretty good for what it does. It has your genealogy, it has your referral link, and so on and so forth, like kind of like a basic back office. I mean, we definitely didn't pay basic price, but still, we have something that you can use right now. But in the future, we're gonna have one that's really next level. We have some big players from another company. He was a co-owner of another company, and he's helping us create a new one. And it's actually going to be integrated with the blockchain as well. And the whole plan as well will be on the blockchain, so it can never be altered or anything like that. But as far as right now, it's kind of basic. You have your referral link, your genealogy, you can see your commissions, your direct bonuses, kind of like, you know, a basic kind of MLM back office.
Another question can I have, because I wrote questions?
Go ahead. I'm sure everyone
One
else
more,
is.
and then yes. What if you don't do the recruiting? What is the benefit? Guess you got disconnected.
He disappeared.
Yeah.